functions as well. And now, to continue further on that, like we'll be going ahead and learning the conversion functions. How would you use the conversion functions? And suppose you have a date is something that which can be represented in a character or in the form of a date. Similarly, whenever you want to represent a number in the character or this way, so you need a conversion function. Conversion functions will help you to convert the data type from one the one data type to the other data type. So there are actually in Oracle we have two types of conversions. One is a implicit conversion and other is called as an explicit conversion. Implicit conversion, and you have the explicit conversion. Implicit conversion means like there are a few things like varchar to date data type, date to varchar data type, varchar to number, and varchar to date. So these things Oracle server will automatically convert it. In the sense, so if you see we have an employee table. So right, so let's say when I retrieve the data from employees, so we have a employees table which has a data, and in this we contain a hire date. Hire date is nothing but a date column. So if I try and pass the character date, it will automatically convert that into a date, varchar to a date, and then do that. So let's say if I want to retrieve all the employees who are actually hired after January 1990, so I can pass something like this. So I know that I'm passing the character value, but it is trying to compare with the date value. So this character input, whatever you are passing, will be converted into a date data type, and then it will be converted. So when you try and execute, so this will give you the data who are actually hired greater than 1990. So this type of conversion is called as an implicit conversion. You're not changing anything. I mean, you're not you're not doing any change as such. It is, in fact, okay. So it is converting this automatically. This is called as an implicit conversion. So when we talk about an explicit conversion, we have a different functions. So what type of functions we have? Explicit conversion functions. So when we talk about explicit conversion function, we have mainly a to-char function. This function can be used in two ways. You can convert a number to a character. So what is the necessity of converting a number to a character? Suppose let's say you have a salary column. So when I'm displaying the salary, I want to display the salary with a symbol, dollar symbol, or a rupee symbol which is next to that. So that time you need a number to be printed in the form of a character. So similarly, whenever you want to convert a date to a character, so in the sense, suppose let's say I have to display a date in the form of something like 17th of Jan 1987, something like that. So when you want to append some characters to the existing date and you want to display, then you need it. So number to character example, why you require, suppose let's say I want to display the salary something like this, $2,000, and date to a character is if you want to display something like this, 17th of June 1987. So we cannot represent a date. If you are storing the date in the date format, we cannot actually represent a date here, date like this. So this can be achieved by using a to-char function. So generally the date will be stored in the form of dd-mon-yyyy format. So when you see 01-Jan-1990, so something like this, we actually represent a date in that format. So if you have to do the explicit conversion, so explicit conversion, will happen with the help of a toChar function. There is a other type of functions which we have. The other one is to_date. So this converts, suppose let's say you have a character date which is being represented, and if you want to convert a character date to the date data type, so then we'll use a character function, to_date function. Similarly, if you have a character and want to convert into the number format, then we'll use a character to the number format. So then we'll use a function to_number. So it's very simple. When you say to_character, output of toChar data type is a character, output of date data type is a date, and output of number is a number data type. So that's how we will use it. So these are very important when we go to ETL testing or whatever. So we are going to use them extensively in our ETL testing process. So let me just show you first the understanding of the toChar function. So toChar function, whenever you want to extract the year, or whenever you want to extract the month from a date, or whenever you want to extract a day from a date, so all these things can be easily extracted by using a date. So now I want to extract the year from the date value. So suppose let's say I would like to display only the year of the hire date, and I want to display only the year in a spelled words. So something like, suppose let's say if the employee is hired on 1999, so I just want to spell that in words and then display it. So how can we use it? If you want to retrieve the data, so last name, and you have a, let's say, job ID which you want, and then the salary column. So along with this, I will get the year column. So something like, let's say if I use a hire date and I want to get the year from this. So if you try and use toChar function, so let's say you have a toChar of, you have something called as a hire date, and let's say we have YYY. So toChar of year. So let's first check that. Let's say I want to understand all the employees who are hired in 1999. So how can I do that? So from, what is the table? This is your employees table. Let's say where toChar of hire date of YYYY is equal to 1999. So I want to find out all of them. So just give that in the uppercase. Anyway, this will convert that in the implicit. Okay, I think we cannot. So we need to provide this into this one. So try and execute. So this will give you the employees who are hired on 1999. So if you see, it would have given you the less number, of course. We have only 18 employees who have hired in the 1999 year. Suppose let's say if you want to use the same toChar function, let's say if you are using another type of a format. So toChar function is pretty simple. You pass the date value and then provide the format of the date in which you want to get the date. So I want to get the year in a spelled out format. So when you try and execute, so this will give you 1999, 1989, 1987. So whatever the value which is there, it will spell out the year in the words. So if you give it as a YEAR, so that is two things which we majorly use in terms of year. So suppose let's say if you want to get the year in the two-digited format. Two-digited means it's like 01, 02, 03, 1999, 98 and all. So if you try and use that, will give you the year in the two-digited format instead of 4 digits. So it will give you in the two-digited format. So try and execute this here. So when you see, this will give you the year in 99. So these are the three different formats of the year whenever we try and implement this toChar function. So I hope you are good with it, with the conversion of toChar function into year. And let's look at how to use the months. So we have seen years. Let's try and see how can we use the month. So suppose let's say whenever you want to display only the month in 2-digit format. So when you use a month, it'll give you the month in 01, 02, 03, something like that. When you say MON, it will give you the short form of the month, something like JAN, FEB, MAR, all these things. And similarly, if you just want to use, you have seen the took care of hire date, that is your as a month, MON, this one. And similarly, if you just want to give a complete MONTH, this will give you the complete form of the month. So these are the 3 different formats which we use for a month, which will give you this one. See here, since this is a June, it is being displayed as 06, and complete June, anyway we have it, that is being displayed as a 3-letter word, and June complete form of the description. So this way, month formats will also work, MM, MON, and MONTH. So this will give you the different formats. Similarly, we can also get the day level attributes. So whenever you want to find out the week, or whenever you want to find out the day, so all these things. Let me just try and retrieve that. So if you say DD, it will give you the day of the month. So day of the month. So this value will vary from 1 to 31. So 1 to 31. So this will give you. So day of the month. So similarly, you have the another one. So that you have took care of sysdate. Let's say DDD. So which you call it as a, this one, it will give you the day of the year. So this value vary from 1 to 365 or 366. And if you see the other type of function, that is your D, so which will give you the day of the week. So day of the week, if you try and use D, so this will give you day of the week. That's how it will give you. The other one, so which you have, this is called as a took care of sysdate comma dy. So it will give you the short form of the day. So something like MON or TUE, WED, so like that. So this will give you. And similarly, if you have took care of sysdate, let's say if you give complete DAY, it will express the day in the full form of the day. So it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, likewise. So DD means it will give you the day of the month. That is straightforward. If it is DDD, it will calculate the days from first day of the year to the last day of the year. So let me just try and retrieve this from the dual. So when you try and execute, this will give you the set of records. So try and execute. So 26, today is the 26th August. That's why it has given you 26th day of the month. Day of the year, you have to calculate January 31 days, February 28, again March 31, April 30, likewise. If you calculate, today will be the 238 day of the 2014 year. So that's how you can calculate. So no, this is a day of the week. So how does it work? So day of the week, Saturday means 1. So it will calculate like that. Saturday 1. No, Sunday 1. Sunday 1, Monday 2. Today is Tuesday according to the IST. That's why Tuesday, it is day of the week, which is being displayed as a 3. So it will vary from 1 to 7. And similarly, today is Tuesday, so it is being displayed as a TUE, and the full form of the day, which is being displayed as Tuesday. So likewise, you can also use the other format when using it. Similarly, if you want to find out the week of the year and quarter of the year, so let's say if you want to find out the week, so which will vary from 1 to 54, 54, yeah, 54. And similarly, if you want to find out the quarter, which quarter it belongs to, so when you try and execute it, so this will give you week in a month, it is fourth week, and this one is a third quarter. January to March is the first quarter, April to June is the second, and July to September is the third quarter which we are in. This will give you the week. I think if you use WW, so let me just, week of the year, is there a possibility? That is a week of the month it is given. Okay, yeah, week of the year. WW will give you the week of the year. This is the 34th week of the year. So likewise, you can use a different formats of the date, different formats of the character to generate it. So suppose, let's say we have seen the various formats, so how to use a toChar, and we can also use the timestamp. So it's like, suppose let's say I want to display the time also, because your date carries the time, and if you want to display the time also, so you can also use a toChar function. So suppose let's say we want to display the date in this format, something like 17th of June 2014 or whatever, so 2014, I want to display the time, so AM or a PM. So something of this format which I have to do. So whenever you use two types of time formats are there. So as we know, like 12-hour format and the 24-hour format. If you give HH12 MISS, it will give you the 12-hour format, and also it will give you the AM or PM. So according to this. So when you use HH24 MISS, so this will give you the 24-hour format. Suppose if you want to know the time here, what is the time stamp in the system date? So you can just pass HH24 MISS. So this will give you the time now. So this is AM, so probably it has to display the 6:43 now. 6:43:47. So if you display that in the other format, which I mean to say in the 12-hour format, it will also display the AM or PM accordingly. So try and execute. So let's say you want to have 12-hour format. I'll give here as a PM itself. So now currently the AM according to the IST. So try and execute. It will give you the AM time. So this way you can also get the timestamp also along with a toChar function. So that's how you can execute. So now you want to display the string something like this. I want to display the hire date in this format. So which is like 12th of October, 15th of October, or 17th of June, something like that. So how can we use that? How can we display the hire date in that format? So let's say if I get select last name, comma, if you have a hire date which is there, and you have a toChar function, so which you have it as dd hire date, right? So hire date. So I want to display the date in this format. So dd, and you want to display the of. This is a word, 17th of, 16th of. What is a month? I want to give them the complete month in this format. And from hire date is part of an employee's table. So just try and execute. Let's see how the output comes. So if you see 17th of June, 21st of September, 13th of January, something like this. So if you want to display this value, then we will display any character. If you want to append in between the format also, you can append within the double quotes that will be taken. So the next one is if you want to spell the words, if you want to spell the days, so something like 14th, 15th, 16th and all, and then we will use the other format of the toChar function. So I want to display the date. So something like this, 14th of June, 21st of June, 13th of June, and 3rd of January, something like this. So if you just want to display the date in that format. There is a other format which is you have to use. So this is DDSPTH. So if you give this one, and it will give you the 13th of, let's say, month if you want to give. So it will give you the complete. So today is 26. It will spell out the day in words. It will spell out the day in words. So when you try and see this, so this will give you a 26th of August. So that's how it will display the date. DDSPTH. This is a new format. I mean, like which we are seeing. DD will give you SPTH. Will spell out the day, month of the day in words. Day of the month in words. Day of the day. Day of the month in words. 26, 27, something like that. So this is how it will give you the date format model. So whenever you use a toChar function, so we always use that with a combination and get it. There is something called as a FM here. So you wanted to display the date in 17th June 1987. So FM is something that which will remove the format. I mean, suppose if you have any padded spaces on the left hand side or the right hand side, whenever you retrieve it, that padded spaces will be removed from that. So FM is a format specifier to remove the spaces, so which you can append and then do that. So that is how you can get the toChar function with respect to the dates. So I would like to hear if you have anything to discuss here on the toChar. Else we can move on with the next one, that is your toChar with numbers.
Yeah, Karthik, what did you say DDSPTHS? What does it
This
stand?
is like, like this is suppose if you have a 19, day is a 19. So it will spell something like this, NIM 19th of this month, something like 18th. So this will use 18th, 16th, something like that, 21st. So it will spell out the, so something like this. It will use the date in this format. So you just want to check this again. So you can opt 26th of the month.
Okay, the full expanded form of the number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full expanded form of the day. Yeah, in a month.
In a month.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So next one to go with is using of toChar function with numbers. So as I said, like toChar with the numbers is helpful whenever you want to display the currency symbol, or whenever you want to display the number in the decimal format or separated by the comma. So why toChar with numbers is basically used is like, let's say toChar of number, comma, let's say the format which you have to specify, just like that. So if I have to display if I have a number, for example, so I have a number something like 12,500 is a salary. So if you want to convert this, I want to display the number in this format. Well, or it's something like this, 0, 1 to 500, which means after three digits, I want to use the comma separator and then display that. So how would you do that? So comma is a character, but you have to represent a number in the character format. Or similarly, it is also possible that, suppose, let's say if you want to display the something in the dollar format or USD, you want to display in the USD, or I want to display the dollar symbol after the number column. So because it's a salary column or a commission column, I have to represent. So how would I do that? By using the toChar function. A toChar function, when you try and say, let's say I have a last name and I have a salary. So I want to display the salary in the comma separated, I mean 1000 separator, using a 1000 separator. and I want to display even the dollar symbol or a local currency symbol, after that. So let's say 2char of salary, and if you see the value as value would be, let's say, I want to display the salary. 9 represents a digits. So if you represent 999 comma 999, so this is 9 represents a digits, comma represent a comma separator. And if you want to display the dollar symbol represents a currency symbol, whatever is it. See, the number of characters in the format specifier should be less than or equal to your number of digits in the salary. Suppose in your salary you have a value as 8 digits, but if you are passing only 6 digits here, it will throw the error. So you always have to mention the maximum less than or equal to. Suppose if the salary contains 10 digits, here also it should contain 9 digits, 9 nines. If it contains 10 digits, you should have 10 nines here in the format. So when you try and use this, so it will separate the salary in the 1000 separator format, and it will also display the dollar symbol which is next to that. Okay, whatever it's displaying here. So $24,000, $17,000, and the 1000 separator is also being there. So if you have the higher value, then it will use again next 1000 separator is after 3 digits, 100,000, 800,000, 800,000, something like this. So, and also if you want to forcefully display the zeros after that, there is a decimal which I have to display. So you can also use in this format. Let's say, let me just use this against the dual function. So let's say I have a number something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 digits into that, and I want to represent so 9-digited value, and you have to represent the forceful zeros after that. This is not the correct one. So 9 digits, and you want to display the forceful zeros after that. Dot represents a decimal. 0, if 0 forcefully, it will display the zeros after the decimal point. So when you try and execute, see the number, it will keep the comma separator here, it will keep the comma separator here, and it will keep the dollar symbol and forcefully display the zeros also after the number format. So this is how it gives you. So what I was trying to say, the number of characters or a number of digits in the number input which you are providing should be less than or equal to the number of digits what you specify here. Otherwise, it will throw the error. So suppose, let's say, if I am displaying, if I am defining the number format, something like this, whereas your input contains a more number of characters. See this, it is displayed in the gen characters. All the gen characters are being displayed. So it should be always the number of characters should be less than or equal to. It can be equal to, or it should be, this number of digits should be less than or equal to the format numbers. So that way you can convert a number to a character format, and sometimes instead of dollar symbol you can also use a L. L stands for a local currency. So it's based on the character set and the language it will evaluate it. So since my database language and the character set is being set to US ASCII, so that's why it is generating a dollar symbol next to that. That's how it will display the 2char with respect to the number format. 2char function with the numbers, right? So
Karthik?
yes.
Hello?
Yes, I'm there.
Yeah, Karthik, can we separate only using that 1000 separate something you said, right? We cannot separate like two digits at a time or 4 digits at a time.
Yeah, you can do that. It just it will just take the format. In general convention, we divide it as. When you say Indian numbering system, we'll do it this way, right? So we'll say it as 10,000, 20,000, and then afterwards lakhs and 10 lakhs. So you here if you want to do You can also try.
So depending on the local currency system, we can anyway format we want.
No, any format. I mean, whatever the format you want. See now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we actually say in the Indian numbering system 1,10,700, but in US and all we say that 100,000, 200,000, something like that. So that's why I just gave 999 here. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, sir.
So that's how you can use the toChar with the number format. And we also have the two other functions. That one which you have is a toNumber function as well as a to_date function. So how would you use to_number will convert a character string to a number format, and to_date will convert the character to the date format. So how would you use how would you convert the character to the date format? So whenever sometimes we'll also receive the date in the character format, something like this. Let's say you have a date. We do not have any column actually which is carrying a character date. So we have a date something in this format on the form of a character. So I want to convert this character date to the date data type. So that is pretty easy. So when you use a to_date function, provide the character date that as an input. So you want to convert a 1st Jan 1995, and let's say you have the date also in some, some character format which you have 12 AM or PM. 12 AM will not be there, right? So it's 12 PM will be there. Otherwise, we'll represent this as a 12:50, let's say 15 seconds, which you have, and this is an AM. So this is what the format of the date which is being stored in your column. And you want to convert the character date here into the date data type. So what is the format of the date? DD stands for the day, MON stands for the month, and YYY stands for the year. And here this is a 12-hour format, so we'll use HH12 and MI and SS. So whenever you try and do this from dual, so this will convert the character date what you have into the number. Jan 1995 HH12 MISS. Date format picture ends converting an input string. Yeah, it should work once again. Let me just try that without the timestamp. DD-MON-YYY, and afterwards you have, okay, AM or PM. Yeah, it's here. In the format specifier, I have given it as AM, but in the format specifier, I didn't provide, whereas in the date it has been there. So if you see now, the date is being converted as DD-MON-YY format. That is a default format of the date, which generally database will start displaying the date. So it's something like DD-MON-YY format. So that's how whenever you execute this is how it will display the date format. So toDate is always used to convert the character date to the date data type. And similarly, the to_number. So to_number is used to convert the number to the character format. So character number to this format.
Copy, I didn't get this one, the toDate.
Okay. See, we have a date which is represented in the character format, in the sense like var_char2 or a string format, whichever is there. This is like a string date which you have. And I want to convert this string date into the date data type. So it's basically to_date function, will convert the character date which you are representing in the form of a character into the date data type. So this was the date which is being represented in the form of a string, and I wanted to convert that into the date data type. My date is actually represented in the form of dd-mon-yy format. So if you see, I have provided the complete format of the date, how it is stored in my character. So it's something like dd-mon-yyy, and you have a date, whatever the format that you are representing, whether it is a 12-hour or 24-hour, you have represented this date. So just to show you practically here, I do not have any table which contains the character date. That's why I'm just trying to represent the date in the single quotes format and then trying to do it to you. So when you go to the general project specific, like when you can start storing the data either in the form of a date format or in the form of a character format. In both the ways you can store it. But whenever you have a date in the character format, you want to convert it, that time we will use a to_date function. Here I'm using with specific to the dual table. That's why there might be a confusion whether it is a date what I'm passing or a character I'm passing. But I'm passing the character format of the date which I'm passing. Since we do not have any, since we do not have any type of dates which we have. So similar type of function we will use when we go to the ETL testing second example or the third example. We'll understand how the character date will be converted into the date data type. Okay. So for now, you can just see how the what is the use of this to_date function. We will see that practically, like how it will help you to convert the character date to the date data type. Right.
Karthik, why is it only the date is being displayed and not the hours and minutes and seconds after formatting?
Yeah, see, when you define a database, so there will be a certain format that we will define within the database for a date. Okay, there is something called as Nls Database Parameters. So something like this. So when you try and execute this, so this will give you the date format. You need to specify that date format. Now, in this, the date format defined as dd-mon-rr, rr nothing but a yy format. Since the date format is specified for this database, by default, whatever the date that you retrieve, even the hire date column also. So if you see, so when I retrieve the hire date column, it is displaying in the dd-mon-rr format. It is not displaying complete date, right? So if you see, sorry, not the last name column, hire date, when you display it, so it will display in the dd-mon-yy format. It is not in the different format. So by default, any date that you retrieve within the database, since this date format is being set as dd-mon-rr format, it will display it. Suppose, let's say, you want to display the date in the different format for our understanding. So even when we talked about the sysdate function also, sysdate function was not displaying the date and time. It was just displaying the date, month, and then the year. But it was not displaying the date time. So that time what we have done, like we can also change the date format in the database. So I'm changing for this session, means, so you can modify this, alter session, let's say NLS date format, I'm changing it. So when I change the date format, it will modify for this session, and whatever the date that you retrieve in this session, that will be displayed in according to my dd-mon-yyy. Let's say you have HH12 and then MISS format. So when you try and modify the date format, whatever, set, that is option is missing, set NLS date format. So now I'm changing the date format what is stored in the database for this session, not for every run. So now try and execute this hire date, how it will display. See, this is being displayed. So 17 June 1987, 12 is a time. So I didn't keep AM or PM. So if you just keep it accordingly, it will display the data. By default, date format is displaying in the DD, MO, and YY format. That's why it was displaying. Now, since I've changed the date format, it will display it. AM or PM. Right? So this is a default date format. That's why it has given you in the DD-MON-YY.
Even when we give it in the format, unless we alter, it doesn't really show up the format mode.
Yes, it won't show. It won't show. And by default, whatever is being set in this view or a database, that format will be displayed.
Oh, okay.
If you want to explicitly display this, you can go for this NLS date format and then try to display the date. It will display according to your format. So that's how you can use a to_date function. So the next thing is about the to_number. So to_number is basically which converts a character string to the date type. So you're storing the character value and you want to convert into the number format, so which you can use a to_number function. So suppose let's say you have a number which is something like 123.456, which is stored as a character in the varchar field. So here also we do not have much of the tables which has a character number actually. So this is also a pretty simple one. I mean, like when you just use a to_char number from dual, so this will just convert the character date to the number format. That's it. So number format, when you want to display in the decimal or whenever you want to display in the form of a normal real integer or not, so just provide the format specifier accordingly. So again, it's the same. Like if you want to display the digits or number, so number format, whatever that you use it. Missing right parenthesis. Okay, so when you try and use, it will convert the character number to the number. Again, 9 represents a digit, dot represents a decimal. So whenever you want to change that into this, suppose let's say you have a number which is something like this, 123,456.456. So which I want to convert it as a number. So it is having a comma into this, right? So if you have a comma, that cannot be represented in a number. So if you just want to convert only the plain number, I don't want commas in my number. Okay, 1 second, this one. So we have 1, 2, 3. So you don't need to specify that. There was a space. I think that's the reason it is throwing that error. There was a space here after 456. That is the reason it is throwing the error. So whenever you want to get rid of that dollar symbol or any other type of characters within there, so it will remove all of them and then represent. Okay, dollar symbol is not recognized. So whenever you want to separate those commas and everything, so you can represent the number in the number format, whatever there in the type of character which will be converted into number format. So that's about the to_number. So this is all overall about the explicit conversion functions, in the sense which converts a character to the date data type, date to the character, as well as the to_number. All these things are the different explicit conversion functions which we use for converting the data types. So next, these things are about the nesting of the functions. So nesting of the functions is nothing but if you're passing the result of one function to the other, then we will call that as a nesting of the function. Suppose let's say if you want to calculate the total number of characters of a first name and the last name. for all the employees in the employees table. So how would you do that? So first thing is to count is concatenate. How would you use it? You will concatenate the last name and the first name. So this will give you the total name. And if I pass the result of this into my another function that is called as a length function. So first, which function gets executed? First, concatenation function gets executed and the length of the string will be displayed. So when you try and use from the employees table, so it will display the total, the value. So now try and execute. This way you have 9 and then the, so total number of characters for each name will be displayed. So if you just want to use it in the where clause also you can use. I want to find out a number of employees. So let's say whose length of last name is greater than 15 characters or something like this. So try and execute. How many are there? So there are, okay, there are employees, around 6 employees who are having the, the total length of the name is more than 15 characters. So when you try and check this, this will give, these are all the employees who are having a full name. So basically what we are trying to understand is that the result of this function, we are passing it as an input to the other function. So the evaluation will happen from lowest level to the highest level. First, this will get evaluated, then this one. So likewise, this process a using of multiple functions in a single expression, that is called as a nesting of the functions. So we use nested functions in using that. So that's a simple part. And after conversion functions, we have a general functions. So general function which will handle the null values and which will handle the, it's basically which will handle the null values whenever whenever you perform any arithmetic operations on the null, it will be evaluated. It will be evaluated to the null again. So how can I handle it? So let's understand the Nvl example. So Nvl will take the two expressions as shown. So whenever expression 1 is null, it will replace that by the expression 2. Otherwise, it will return an expression 1 value. If expression 1 is a null value, it will replace that by expression 2. If expression 1 is not null, then it will return an expression 1. So whenever you have a, let's say I have a commission percentage column. So whenever commission percentage column is null, I want to replace the default commission by 0.1. It will replace it, else it will give the commission. So the data type of this column and the data type of the default value what you are providing should always match. So suppose, let's say if the job ID is not null, then you want to provide the no job yet. So if you want to display something like this, so what will happen in this scenario is that if the job ID is not null, then it will display the job ID, sales representative, president or something like that. If the job ID is null, it will display the no job. It is a varchar free, that's why I'm providing the varchar output. Similarly, if you are using with a hire date is a date data type. So when you try and use hire date, let's say the default value I just want to display it by the system date. So hire date value, which you have it date data type. So the default value also should be of the date data type. So let's see the simple example how the NVL is practically used. Suppose, let's say if you want to calculate the monthly commission, if the commission is not applicable for an employee, it has to display it as a 0. If the commission is applicable, it has to display the monthly commission. So how would you do that? So let's say you have select last name and salary. So select last name and then salary. Let's say you have commission percentage which you have last name, salary, commission percentage, and I want to calculate the annual commission. So what will happen? See, observe the result difference with NVL, without NVL. From employees. So whenever you perform any arithmetic operation with respect to the null value, it will evaluate that to null. See, 24,000 into null, it is being displayed as a null. I don't want to display this as a null. I just want to display the annual commission for an employee as a 0. So let me just, so this is like a commission. I want to display that as a 0. So how can we handle the null values? See, wherever I have the commission, if it is a null value, I want to replace that by the 0. So if you see, since it is null, all the complete commission is being evaluated to null. But for all the other employees, it is calculated properly. 14,000 into 14.4, it is 5,600, something like that. So if I use a Nvl function here, this Nvl function will convert a null value will be replaced by 0. So whenever there is a null value, it will replace that by 0. If the commission percentage is having a value, it will not replace. So try and execute this one. So now see the difference. So 24,000 into null, null is being replaced by 0. 24,000 into 0, commission is being displayed as a 0. So NVL will help you to handle the null values for it. So that's how you can use the NVL function to convert into this one. Now let's say if you just want to display there is a other function, so that is called as a NVL2, which is just an extension to this one. So NVL2 is basically takes 3 arguments. It will take the column name. If the column name is not null, then it will give the expression 2, else expression 3. So that's how it will work. Suppose, let's say, if you want to find out how many employees are receiving the both salary and commission, how many employees are receiving only the salary as part of their, as part of their general pay structure. I mean, general pay structure. So if you take this, it will give you expression 2, else expression 3. So it will convert in that. So if suppose, let's say, similar query if I have to use here with respect to the NVL2 function. NVL2 function is completely different. So it will display it will give you the option. If you have to calculate suppose, let's say, you want to calculate the annual salary. If I'm calculating annual salary, if the commission percentage is null, it is only the salary into 12. If the commission percentage is not null, then it is salary into 12 plus commission percentage into 12. So I mean, that is what the total salary that they receive. So when you see NVL2, let's say you have commission percentage, and first if you want to identify the employees who are receiving both salary and commission, so if it is a commission percentage is null, not null, sorry, then it will give you this value. If the commission percentage is null, so this will give you only the salary. So because these employees will receive only salary, they're not receiving the commission. If it is null, it will return this value. If it is not null, it will return that value. It's like if else. So when you try and execute, see, since the commission percentage is null, for these employees they receive only salary. Wherever the commission percentage is not null, you have a salary plus commission, both. So similarly, if the commission percentage is null, they'll receive only the annual salary. If the commission percentage is not null, they receive both annual salary plus commission. So how would you calculate that? You can display in this format: salary into commission, salary into commission percentage. This will give you the monthly commission plus, so you need to give plus salary. This will give you the total monthly salary of an employee. So if you just want to combine this into 12, that will give you the complete annual salary of an employee. So if the commission percentage is null, it is pretty simple. So it's just 12 into salary. So annual salary should be calculated based on the commission percentage. Then we can write an expression something like this: if the commission percentage is null, this complete expression will be used to calculate the salary. If the commission percentage is null, it is just the 12 into salary that will give you the annual salary of an employee. So, okay. So where is it? Quoted string. Yeah. Very good. Thanks. So now annual salary, there was a which was missing. So if you see that now, it is since the commission percentage is null, it is 2,88,000 directly, and wherever the commission is there, that will calculate with the help of a annual salary. So that's a use of NVL2 function. And there is a other function called as a nullif function. Nullif. So nullif function will take the two expressions. If both the expressions are equal, then it will return a null value. If both the expressions are not equal, then it will return a first expression result. So let me just try and give you the simple example. We'll compare the length of a last name and length of a first name. If both the length of last name and first name are equal, it will display the null value. If both are not same, then it will display the length of the first name. So length of last name, sorry. Length of last name, this is the first one, and you have the length of first name. So I'm passing that value to the nullif function. So nullif, so if you pass both of them, length of last name and first name, it will return a null value if the both the lengths are similar. So in the employee table, else it will display the length of the last name. So try and see this, how it will look. Table or view does not exist. So this is the employees table. So try and execute this one. So 4 and 5 both are not same, so it has displayed 4. So similarly 8 and 5 it has displayed 8. 5 and 6 it has displayed 5. So see here. So 4 and 4 null, 5 and 5 null, 6 and 6 null. So this is how nullif function works. If both the expressions are same, it will display the null value, else it will return a expression 1 in using it. So there is a other one that is called as a coalesce. Coalesce function will give you the first not null expression in the result. So it will compare the values from left to right. If first not null expression, it will compare the manager ID. If the manager ID is not null, it will return it. If the manager ID is not null, then it will go and check the commission percentage. If the commission percentage is not null, it will return. Else it will go and check. So it will evaluate the expression from left to right. Whichever is the first not null expression, that value will be returned. So suppose, let's say you have a scenario something like this. You have a address 1, address 2 and all, which for an address you have. So we do not have an example actually. So address 1, you have a different columns. Address 1, address 2, address 3, and then the city column as well as, and if any of the values is present, that has to be displayed. If nothing is present, then it has to display the result as a no address for a particular customer or whatever. So you have this kind of scenario. So if the address 1 is there, it has to display the address 1, else address 2, else address 3, else city. If any one of them is not there, then it will display the no address for a particular employee. So we cannot execute this practically. I'm just showing you this one. So you can just replace the values if you just want to check whether it is working, the coalesce is working or not. So let's say the address 1, if you want to display the null, then I want to display the address 2, and you have address 3, and then the city also which you have. I'm just enclosing in the quotes and consider these as a columns in the general purpose. So when you try and execute, so this is a null, so it will display the address 2. If address 2 is also null, then it will go and display the address 3. If address 3 is also null, then it will go on city. If city is also null, then it will display it as a no address. So it is nothing but a first not null expression. You can write n number of expressions here. Suppose let's say you have a null here, and this also as a null, and this also as a null, which is there. So try and execute this one. So if you, it will display the value as a no address. So that's how the queries function will work in using it. So we are almost done with the third chapter, but we have two important functions. That is your conditional expressions, which will be extensively used in the BI testing and ETL testing. So we'll discuss them tomorrow and then move on with the fourth chapter, that is about your multi-row functions or a group functions, right? So I'm stopping it for today, and if you have anything to discuss, you can discuss on that. And I did forward you all the required materials. I mean, materials I have not forwarded it, but I've just forwarded you the VM, and keep the VM ready. So tomorrow we'll install, we'll set up the VM on your machines so that you can start practicing all the things. We will do that. So that VM setup, we will do it. So keep all the things ready. And I think Shailaja and Ramalakshmi, I think you guys have not received it. Okay, it is already set up on your system. Okay. Okay, I just have to take a.
Ramalakshmi here.
Okay.
Can you also please send us the PPTs which you are sharing it in the class?
Yeah, I'll send you, but I do not have your email address. Probably Raidu or Sandeep will send you that.
Shall I ping you now otherwise?
Yeah, that's fine. You can ping me. I'll just mail you the details.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just take down these email addresses. Yeah, we'll install the VM setup. That is nothing but your software only, and we'll do those things. What is the error message that you're getting, Amar? And Shailaja, your email address also you can give me, and I'll just. Okay.
Hi Karthik, this is Cooper.
Yeah.
Karthik, tomorrow we are installed only for VM, right? And not for Informatica.
Yeah, inside the VM itself, you'll have Informatica everything. Once we
Okay,
set up the VM, you'll have a database, everything in that.
Yeah, because in Informatica we have the file size is very huge, right? 1.5 GB, right? So when I try to download, in between it automatically it will be disconnected. So that is the problem I am facing. So any other option to get that software started?
No, just try and check it from the other places, and if you are still facing the issue, then probably that is actually a 1062. That's a more than 12 GB file which we have to send. If that is the case, we have to mail you the, send you the USB drive.
Last few days I am trying to download, but unable to download for it.
Yeah, because that is a bigger file. You need to have a good internet connection to do that. Yeah, if you have already installed the VM, we will examine that and then we'll check it out if that is that suffices your requirement or not, and that way we'll tell you.
Okay.
So Karthik, what version of Informatica are you installing?
951.
951. Okay.
Okay. Okay then. Thank you. So we'll discuss the remaining things tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
Thank you.